There's lots to talk about. Things got very interesting on Wednesday. Chris Sheridan of SheridanHoops.com reported Wednesday evening LeBron James will sign a free agent deal to return to the Cleveland Cavaliers. According to that report, Wednesday's meeting between James and Heat President Pat Riley in Las Vegas was simply for the player to inform the executive of the decision. If true, James will leave Miami after 4 seasons and with 2 MVP awards, 4 Eastern Conference titles, and a pair of NBA championships, of course, to show for the experience. Let's bring in David Aldridge now. And DA, what are you hearing about the veracity of the report, the meeting with Riley itself, and the timing of an announcement, whenever that might be, on LeBron's next NBA home?
Well, look, let's start with one thing. Chris Sheridan is a legitimate reporter. He worked for AP for many years. I have no doubt someone told him that, and if that's the case, he was perfectly within his rights to report it. All I can tell you is that the people that I have talked to, who I've been talking to this whole time, who have never steered me wrong, have said LeBron James has not made a decision yet about whether he's going to come back. The only thing LeBron James is going to do in the next 24 hours that I've been told is that he's going to talk to his family. Now, whether his family's with him in Las Vegas or he's going to go to Miami and talk to them, I don't know. But that he has not made a decision yet. There is no announcement scheduled for tomorrow. As far as the people that I have talked to have said, that does not mean that they are right. It is just what they have been told. This is all this reporting is. If someone tells you something and you believe them or you don't. I tend to believe these people because they've always been right. So that's what I know. But this is a fluid situation, obviously, Matt. And clearly, we are in a position now where it is either LeBron is going to return to Miami or he's going to go to Cleveland. It does not seem that there is any other alternative that's realistic at this point or that is being discussed or even contemplated.
DA, I was curious about the tenor of the meeting today and what that might have been like, what Pat Riley's tone might have been in that meeting. What did the people you talked to tell you about maybe just the way the conversation went? If they met for over an hour, as everybody has been reporting.
Yeah, I think it was fairly businesslike, Sekou. I don't think that there was a great emotional component to it. I think that, you know, the Heat have ideas about what they want to do, not just this summer, but next summer and going forward. And Pat Riley, as I have said all along, and I don't have any reason to doubt it, has kept LeBron James abreast of everything that Miami can do, wants to do, might be able to do. And so it's up to LeBron to decide if he thinks that's a plan worth pursuing. Now, the interesting wrinkle tonight is that Dallas is going to give an offer sheet to Chandler Parsons, who is the restricted free agent for the Rockets. Obviously, Houston, as we all know, has been going after Chris Bosh. And now, once he signs that sheet, once Chandler Parsons signs the offer sheet, the Rockets have 3 days to match. Well, they got to either use that room on Chris Bosh, he's got to agree to a deal, and then they can re-sign Chandler Parsons. Or if Chris Bosh doesn't agree to a deal, they've got to use that room to match the offer sheet on Chandler Parsons. So the clock has started. I think by the weekend, we're going to have some resolution one way or another on most of this, if not all of it.
Now, the Rockets piece of the puzzle seems relatively clear at this point with either a Bosh or Chandler Parsons scenario. The Cavaliers made things a lot more plausible in terms of a homecoming earlier in the day by clearing up about $9 million in cap space with a 3-team trade. They unloaded assets to Brooklyn and to the Boston Celtics in order to create that cap room, including Jarrett Jack, the backup point guard who makes about $6 million next year, and a couple of first-round draft picks, Sergei Karasev, who did not play very much for Cleveland. Those two guys both wind up in Brooklyn. Tyler Zeller, another first-round draft pick, lands in Boston, along with the Nets' Marcus Thornton, and Cleveland's first-round pick in 2016. So that's basically 3 first-round picks to clear up cap space, which tells you, DA, they at least think they've got a legitimate shot at James.
Well, they wouldn't have a shot at James if they couldn't offer him a max deal, and until this deal gets done, they don't have the room. Now, once the moratorium ends, they'll make the deal, and they will have room. They'll be able to make a max offer to LeBron James. So they did what they had to do, Matt. They cleared the room, and now it's up to LeBron to decide if that group that's currently there with young players, with very talented players like Kyrie Irving, but very young players, is a team that he wants to go back to and wants to lead, because he'll clearly be the leader of that group going forward for the next few years. The Miami situation clearly in flux, so he has to decide if he trusts Pat Riley, that Pat Riley's going to put a representative team around him in the next 2 or 3 years, or if he looks at what is more certain in Cleveland, but not quite as experienced a team. It's an interesting decision for LeBron.
Yeah, you think about the emotional component that has to be involved with LeBron going back to Cleveland if that were to happen. How have they bridged that gap? You know, the fallout from when he left before and the way the fans reacted, the way Dan Gilbert reacted. How do you manage that if you're LeBron, do you think?
Well, it's interesting because the fans in Cleveland, you know, who want LeBron back now are all saying, "Oh, that wasn't a big deal. He has to forget about that." It's amazing how selective people's memories can be when they want LeBron James is concerned. He's in the home white now. It's all good. Everything's forgiven. What letter? I don't remember a letter. No, that's it, Sekou. It's a fair question. I think, you know, there was great anger in 2010 on both sides. Both sides reacted and behaved in those days when LeBron made his decision. Now, look, these are adults. You can learn to go past something and work with somebody that you've had problems with in the past. It doesn't mean he can't go back. But look, you know, Dan Gilbert said some very incendiary things about LeBron James when he left. And LeBron's got to decide if he's going to just, you know, walk through that and go back because the pull of Cleveland and Akron is too strong and he wants to make it right. The interesting thing I would say about this, guys, is that LeBron James has never said never. You know, anytime he's been asked about it, he's always said, well, you know, it would be great if I could go back someday. And maybe tomorrow is someday. Who knows?